I really have a whole lot of nothing on this one. Not that that's anything different than usual. However, I tend to go into these recordings with at least one or two things that I might think about talking about. This time I got a whole lot of nothing. So let's see what we can make out of that, because that's what the fun is. It's about 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night. And so here's the thing about this apartment I live in. What I wanted to do was set up a home studio in my apartment, which I have done. And from there, I can record voiceover work, voice acting work, podcast work, basically anything I want to do without having to have a studio. I don't have to go to a radio station. I don't have to go to a recording studio. I can do this shit just sitting in my bedroom. I can sit here and record. That's what I want to do. And that was the plan up until about a week ago. I finally got myself set up to where I was going to start doing some demos. So I could put them online on, say, Fiverr.com or ACX.com and try to sell some of this shit. Try to sell some of my vocal talents, whatever. Do some voices for the people and see what sells. And of course, it all has to fall apart as soon as I put it together. Why? Because the weather just turned like 80, 85 degrees, 90 degrees. I have not turned on the air conditioning because humidity is good for the voice. Air conditioning is bad for the voice. And that is where my priority is. But everybody else who lives in this building is a fat whale who, at the, if it's below 45 degrees, they've got to crank the heat on. And if it's above 65, they got to crank up the air conditioning. There's an air conditioning unit outside of my window, which has been blasting nonstop. I think it finally stopped right now for the first time in a week and a half. Now, that's not a problem. I don't care if you're into cold air. Fine. I'm not upset about the cold air. I don't know anybody who would be. That's weird. If people are upset about cold air, they're weird. What I'm upset... Actually, I lived with a girl 2 years ago, and we got into vicious fights about the air conditioning. I kept turning it off. She kept turning it on and yelling at me. And to retaliate, I would wait until she left the house, and then I would turn it off. Because I'm brave like that. And then as soon as she would come home, she would turn it back on and blast the house with cold air. And I would sit in my room and not talk to her for a week. I would try. We had separate bedrooms. We were roommates. We met on Craigslist and lived begrudgingly across the hall from each other for about a couple of years. And she was cool, until we fought. And then it was vicious. It was psychotic. We were both creative musician types, and I don't know where any of that. I don't know. I wish I had a better story for you. I wish I had a police report to tell you about, but no, it's just we fucking did not get along. I don't know. I could get deeper into it, but I don't want to because no, it's not. Never. I don't want to put anybody on Front Street right now. I'm trying to complain about the air conditioning unit outside of my window. Because what's going on there is basically it hums through the wall into my room in this apartment that I just moved into. And my noise level, not that anybody but utter nerds know what I'm talking about. But basically my noise levels on my computer or on my audio recording unit, whatever, They need to be clean. They need to be below about 57-ish decibels. And they're not. They're just over that now. If they were, if this air conditioning thing is not on, it's below. It's clean. It's fine. But once that thing cranks on, there's this background subtly in the background of everything I do. And I cannot use that and make money from that. I cannot sell that audio. So, my entrepreneurial vision is completely screwed. I started talking about, this was the first thing I talked about in the first episode of this, was that I had this vision of selling my voice in whatever, trying to make side cash, trying to make my own job that could replace the day job so I could sit at home and make money in my underwear. The American dream. It was the 4th of July yesterday. I have nothing on that either because I did nothing. I did not go outside. I did not shoot off fireworks. I am not 7 years old. I sat in the house and watched reruns of Saturday Night Live for 15 hours, whatever, because that seemed to be a better choice. Actually, the reason I did that is because I just got clued in to a submission page online where you can submit sketches for Saturday Night Live. I've got 2 weeks. I have 14 days to where I have to submit about 3 sketches, none of which I've written yet. But if I send those in and they like them, listen, chances are below 0 of fuck. I'm not getting this. There's no way Saturday Night Live is hiring me. Even if I'm hilarious in my writing, there's no way they're hiring a fucking half a hillbilly from the north woods of fucking southern Canada. They don't want me. The voice on Saturday Night Live is basically it's an advertisement for the Democrat Party. It's not cutting edge. It's not edgy. It's not the National Lampoon fucking refried shit of the late 70s. It's different now. It's become the fucking Hollywood glamour pageant that they used to make fun of. It's still funny. It's still got its points, but they don't want me. They're not saying anything that I would deem to be that pushes the envelope anymore. Not that I am, but I listen to the shit that is, and it's not to be found on that show. Why am I raging again? I don't know. Why am I having such a... Who gives a shit what I think about Saturday Night Live? Nobody. Why am I talking about this? Here's a thing I've been thinking about. I used to think that humor, jokes, comedy, whatever you want to call it, that sound effect was garbage. Why did I do? I used to think that people were offended or upset because they didn't understand the joke. You would say something offensive, or you would say something risky or edgy or whatever, or you just retell a joke you'd heard on the fucking radio or whatever, and I used to think that people got upset because they didn't get it. I'm a dumbass. There's an Instagram page worth checking out that nobody knows about but me and about 19 other fucking gremlins. It's called You Hate Jokes. It's worth checking out. I don't know who runs it. Whoever does is a saint. This page is brilliant because it convinced me. This page. I don't know how often this dude updates his page. Every now and again he goes on a spree where he does a bunch of shit in a row, and then there's periods of time where he doesn't update anything. Kind of like, every time I do anything. I'm going to do about 3 more podcasts and I'm going to stop for like 9 months. And then I'm going to start off with a whole different show. Actually, I do have plans for redoing this whole thing. I'll get into that in a second. This Instagram page, You Hate Jokes. This dude's brilliant. He makes the case that I never considered. It's not that people don't get humor. It's not the whole argument of, well, I think you're misinterpreting subject and context. See, the subject of the joke was a Japanese man, but in the context, it wasn't a racially insensitive joke towards the Japanese people. It was commenting on the Japanese to make a larger point in the satirical realm. You could go on and argue this shit. People don't even want to hear it because that's not what people are getting upset about when it comes to humor. People hate jokes, and I sincerely believe it now. And here's my example, because I'm not a funny person, that I have no skin in the game, really. Here's my life example, though. I'm in customer service. And in the customer service game, you have to be completely serious with people's problems. If somebody comes up to you and says something completely borderline stupid, you cannot react like honestly. You can't. You can't use sarcasm. If somebody were to let's use the old classic, waiter, there's a fly in my soup. You can't react to that and say, shh, then everybody else will want one. Or just something dumb like that. You can't. By the way, I hate myself right now because I read that in a joke book and I thought I could pull it off. I did not. Listen, that was garbage. I get it. But the point is, you can't use sarcasm when dealing with the public. Okay, because sarcasm is a measure of intelligence, and the public wants no part of that. Humor is doubly a sign of intelligence, because humor is not linear thought. Humor is a compound thought process. It's putting two things together that shouldn't be together. That's a joke. That's one definition of, like, think of any joke. It's always a combination of just two fucking unlike things, okay? That mostly. And people get upset when they hear this shit. People like jokes. They like jokes if they fit into, like, their tastes. You know, but people just love to draw the line. They love to feel like they're a victim because it gives them a reason to be an angry asshole. Gives people a reason to just basically fucking act out everything they've been repressing. I'm offended, therefore I have carte blanche. I don't know. Basically, it gives people an excuse to act out everything they would normally not do. You know, but now that they feel justified in being a complete monster. These are where the Twitter hate mobs come from. And I've heard it called cry bullying. I believe that to be a fucking pretty solid. Whoever came up with that. And yeah, we can get fucking, like, not that there aren't completely pieces of shit material. Not that there aren't shitty jokes. Not that there aren't fucking racist jokes. Not, whatever. But even though, and listen, I hate racism, but I like a racist joke, okay? That's about as honest as you can get. You can't say that in public. You can't say that in real life, again, because that's an intelligent thought. But most people, you fucking chuckle at it, even if you don't agree with the joke, you can still laugh at it if it's a good joke, if it's performed well, if it's witty, if it's whatever. You know, but you just, people are just, they're so fucking they hate jokes. And part of the reason for that, another thing I'm just coming around to, and this is a mistake I've been making. See, because let me bring it back. I started studying humor a couple of years ago, when I went to college to be a writer, because I thought writing jokes would be, that'd be fucking great. It's all I want to do with my life. College degrees, they don't mean anything. It's a waste of fucking, it's a fucking slushy fund. A slushy fund. It's a fucking, all college is just a pyramid scheme to fucking, you know, put money into the fucking pockets of some rich academic assholes. And dude, the degrees don't matter unless you're going to go be a fucking brain doctor, okay? It does not matter what you go to school for. Unless you go to like a trade school and you do something like, whatever. That's the new argument, I guess. But I knew going into college, the real old school fucking college, that it did not matter what I did. So I thought, I'm going to go be a writer. And I'm going to learn how to be funny, because I don't know how to write funny. I did not. I had to learn that. I was a kind of a funny street character, a little bit, but nah, man, I was mostly upset, mostly anger, mostly sad. I was way more into those. I was never the funniest person in the room. I'm still not. I had to learn the craft. And part of having to learn anything is that you have to intellectualize it. You've got to learn the beats. All right, if you want to be a tap dancer, you got to learn how to fucking stand on the side of your foot. You got to learn how to do the things you naturally can't do. So, I got deep into the academic side of jokes. I read all the nerdy papers. I read all the psychological things. I read all the philosophy things. And that's good shit to have, and it's good shit to have and forget. Not forget, but just put in the subconscious. If you're going to be somebody that writes a fucking essay about, jokes and their meaning, you're not going to be a funny person, okay? You've got to move beyond that, and you've got to actually get into funny, which is different, which is dick jokes, okay? Which is fart noises, which are the classics. And yes, satire included. I don't care how smart you get with it. You still got to throw a fucking fart reference in, because that's what humor is. It's a fucking base level thing. It's a gut feeling. It is not a brain science. And the problem with why I think people hate humor, and I really think they do, is because there's no line anymore. With you can't just tell a joke without somebody analyzing it. Everybody thinks that they have a right to fucking approve your joke. They have a right to fucking Freudian analysis what you were saying. They have a right to fucking judge you as that's okay. Well, you can tell a black joke because you're this color, but you can't tell a Jew joke because this is your fucking town you grew up in, the country you grew up in, and it's this fucking wicked pyramid of bullshit that you've got to hit into. Ugh. It's just, it stinks. It's garbage. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being fucking, told that a joke is... listen, jokes are funny, and they're not funny sometimes coming out of different people's mouths. Agreed. All right? Talent aside, I can't say the things that, say, Chris Rock says and be funny with. All right? I said talent aside, all right? Fuckfaces. I'm not comparing myself to him. What I mean is that his voice is different than my voice, okay? The material is going to be different. But that does not mean... I'm going to go too far. I'm going to go way too fucking far. Because I'm too upset. I'm too upset because I have to write some sketches. And I fucking haven't done it yet, so I'm all full of fucking energy. I'm really terrible. By the way, that last podcast I did was... that was me trying to do my 10 minutes of radio, trying not to swear, trying to use the voice. Because I was legitimately thinking about, maybe I'll get a radio job. And then, that probably won't happen either. Listen, I'm not going anywhere. That's the harsh truth of this. I am trying and failing my own way, okay? That's it. What is that Malcolm McLaren thing? Better to be a stunning failure than a fucking benign success or whatever. Just fail your own way. Because that's the only way you really learn shit. You get into something with your full heart. You do a bunch of things wrong. But you figure it out your own way. That's kind of my direction. I've been wrong about a lot of shit. I'm probably wrong a lot. But it's fine. Because I'm having fun doing it. And I'm more than open to the idea that I am wrong. I am... I don't think that's common. I don't think a lot of people are. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I just don't see it. I just see, again, too many people try to intellectualize what's going on. But that's just not the way you need to handle shit. So, I don't know. I had nothing at the beginning of this. I don't think I really got anywhere with this. I don't know. Listen, I got a book of Polish jokes sitting in front of me. Here's a couple quick ones. The Polish housewife who thought you could tell the age of an onion by counting the rings. The Polish girl who spent 2 weeks in a revolving door looking for the doorknob. The Polish plastic surgeon who specialized in repairing Tupperware. I don't even know. There's a setup somewhere I missed. How do you get a Polish woman to burn her face? Telephone her while she's ironing. And one last one. How do you spot a Polak in a movie theater showing a foreign film? He's the one using his finger to read the subtitles. Were those offensive enough for you? Really? Are you Polish? I'm not. Who cares?